Education is the civil rights issue of our time. Poor and minority, primarily African American and Latino kids, are underrepresented in our high school graduating classes, underrepresented in our universities, overrepresented in our prisons, overrepresented in the workforce that's unemployed.
The mayor, in taking office, decided to devote himself to an effort to turn around our lowest performing schools. It started out as a network of 10 of the lowest performing schools. It's now expanded to a network of 22, focused in a few communities, including Watts and Boyle Heights.
We're in this work to improve the lives of all kids. We launched a partnership because we wanted to both improve our schools and make sure that those students get a real quality education and really have a chance at being successful in life, while also driving large-scale policy, programmatic changes, kind of the key changes that can help the larger school district impact the 700,000 students that it currently serves. When we started working at the elementary schools, we just saw that we had very, very low number of students that were identified as gifted. We knew the state average was 11% for gifted and talented, but we had some schools at 1%, 0.5%.
The way kids were identified for gifted and talented programs is if their parents asked that they be tested, or if a teacher recommended they be tested.
I never even knew about that test.
It never dawned on me that that was a test that could be taken.
The majority of our kids would never have been tested had the partnership not come in, because what they did was they really came in and they set the tone for assessing all of our second graders, and they did it for 2 years, and then they saw the results.
13% of our students above the state average were identified as gifted and talented.
It was easy.
The superintendent of LAUSD saw the results, and then he rolled it out to the entire school district. So now all of LAUSD is benefiting from this innovation because it opens up such a host of possibilities.
It kind of made me feel like, whoa, well, I'm special, you know, in a different way, and it's a good way. Like, now it's good, it's cool to be smart.
The next step would be to better align our professional development offerings to our gay teachers across our networks.
The more gifted kids, the more gifted training, you're going to train them, where you're going to have your basic kids getting exposed to that kind of thinking. You're going to have a lot of those kids running with it.
If a system's going to change like the district, parents are going to need to hold it accountable and also partner with it to make it better.
You want parents actively involved in their child's education and at the school site.
We have a parent center in each one of our schools. Parents work in there to help teachers with projects.
We want to create the environment where the parents are also educated too. They're learners as well.
We have a lot of parents who didn't go to middle school or high school in America, if at all.
But many of them are interested in coming in and learning about what to do and how to work with their child at home.
New ideas to teaching your kids and being a motivator with your teachers.
We started the Parent College this past year. It's about 3 hours each month.
First of all, Ryan would be like very excited. It motivates us to be more excited as well.
The premise is that we want parents to understand their rights, roles, and responsibilities.
Really teaching the parents on what they should be looking for and expecting at their child's school site.
Like back to school night or conference with the teachers, like what questions to ask. What are the scores that you need, the credits when you graduate from high school, so that you could go into the college that you want to go into.
And it's not just the mothers, you see the fathers.
They welcome the entire community, all the parents, with open arms, and that gives everyone a sense of belonging.
If parents can see themselves graduating from this program, they can see their children graduating from high school, or they can see their children graduating from college. It inspires the kids.
What university, which one you say you're going to? Harvard or Yale? You say he's going to Harvard or Yale.
Being a part of this has gave my son, you know, a great sense of what a community could do.
One of the reasons actually I was attracted to coming to a partnership school was that I heard that they were very innovative in the way they were professionally developing their instructional leaders.
We're beginning a pilot program to evaluate teacher effectiveness with what they call multiple measures of evaluation, which include student growth over time, in-class observation, student input.
They tell us what's working, what isn't, but it's not a program where so many people think it's a gotcha. It's more of a program of how can I make you better.
Thinking about using a common framework, a language to talk about teaching and learning. Thinking differently about how do we plan lessons, how do we plan units, and being able to share that in light groups of grade levels and content area teams, but across all of our schools.
I would free them up to go visit another teacher within the school that was successful with Cornell Notes or with a GLAD strategy so they can observe.
Fundamentally change the way I work with groups and with students in general, and I think it makes it a lot easier to be successful in the classroom.
I feel I am respected, I am empowered, and I have the creative and professional ability to plan lessons that are great for my kids.
If it's important to grade a student, we ought to be able to grade our schools. And we have a school report card that we started in our partnership schools that are taken across the school district.
How kids are performing on tests, graduation rates, survey data from students and parents and teachers.
It allows you to be happy if they're doing well, and if they're not doing well, it allows you to demand change.
We didn't have to make major changes, but it was the little things, making sure in the children's bathrooms that the ceilings weren't covered with toilet paper wads, which is a very popular form of recreation for elementary students.
Principals are going to be attentive to the data that the district prioritizes by putting in that report card.
It definitely does add an extra layer of anxiety because you know that report card is coming out and you're just like, ah. It sets a certain standard for administrators.
And the student report card now goes out to every single parent in all of LA Unified in numerous languages, available in the mail, available online.
My data, I would call it a collaborative innovation of the district and the partnership, where we brought the idea to the table and then co-created it.
It's a web-based student information system that gives teachers access in real time to student data.
So you can see everything from their math scores to their reading scores to how many times they've been sent to the office this year to how many tardies they have.
So it gives me my scores and then it gives me the state scores and it allows me to compare and contrast.
Teachers can log in from home or in their classroom, or a principal can log in to say, let me look at my classroom, or let me look at my department, or let me look at my school and how it's performing.
I actually show this to the students at the beginning of the year. Hey, look at where we're at right here. This is where we're at. This is going to be our goal.
When you create a piece of software, you don't need to just use it for the partnership schools. We also let you use it for all of LA Unified. And now this is a very robust information system that teachers throughout this entire city are using.
I like my data. It made my job easier.
The online credit recovery system is a way of giving kids an opportunity to make up credits that they've missed online.
My friend, he had dropped out of school for I think a month, 2 months. He had to make up some credits. His counselor gave him the Apex class, and he took it. He passed his classes, and he got his diploma and graduated.
They can do the work at home. Or we have kids who were homeless, and they would go to the library and do 6 hours of homework online, and it was a Saturday.
At one school, Santee High School, we had 150 kids that graduated that wouldn't have other without the program. Since we're working with the district, they get excited about these practices, and they roll out credit recovery across a large number of their high schools.
High school is great, but it's also super great when you finish.
While walking to school from the bus stop, an officer pulled us over and tells us to sit down on the curb and asked us why we were late. Before we were able to explain, we were handcuffed and searched.
Students are given a ticket for arriving late to school. They must pay $250, which not only contributes to the financial burden of their family, but makes the students lose class time. Students reported that they would rather stay at home than risk going to school and being ticketed.
It was an issue that had been in the community for many years.
We followed up with the mayor's office, get connected to LAPD, said let's not just change our policy around Roosevelt High School, let's change our policy throughout the entire city of Los Angeles.
We started taking care of tardies within our own school. In this last year, when the directive got implemented and the ticketing stopped, we saw an increase of attendance from 91.4% to 94.5%. We want students to come to school environments that are caring and nurturing.
And so in whatever mechanism we can, whether it is breaking large schools such as a Roosevelt High School into 7 small schools, starting a new school such as the Mendez Learning Center as 2 small schools, the goal is that teachers can monitor student learning more appropriately and relationships can be formed that actually enhance the learning process.
Students have the ability to be seen and to be heard. They don't just become a face in the crowd.
They have inspired in many ways students to come to class, just to come to school and actually do what school is for, to study.
In the 2008-9 school year, which was the partnership's first year, the district had the first round of layoffs.
We got notices that because of the budget crisis, because they were younger teachers and did not have seniority, at some of our schools, half of the teachers received pink slips.
And so we would have all these long-term substitutes.
Substitute don't know your name, don't know where you sit, don't know anything about you, so all hell break loose.
I'm a math department chair, and just trying to build a group and going in the same direction is hard when someone leaves and someone new comes in.
You can't decimate the school's teaching staff that way. That's not fair to kids.
So we picked up the phone, we called the ACLU and said, let's sue.
We essentially argued, and the judge agreed, that an additional round of layoffs would lead to such a disparity in educational opportunity and lack of meaningful instruction to students that it would be a denial of their fundamental right to equal educational opportunity under the California Constitution.
And the end result was a settlement, the first time in this state, whereby the lowest performing schools, the most impacted kids, are protected from seniority-based layoffs.
District-wide, there have been 45 schools protected.
The way the math works out, and I've sat down to crunch the numbers, there's no way that any school in the LAUSD will experience more than 1 or 2 additional layoffs as a result of protecting these 45 schools.
We've really seen a big improvement just, with consistent teachers. Our test scores went up last year. Students are more engaged. Our attendance is up.
Other superintendents are using that lawsuit and that settlement to protect their toughest need schools in other districts as well.
I think the partnership has let these kids know that they're just as smart and just as deserving, and that they deserve an equitable education just like every other child in the United States of America.
What we're doing here is authentic change. And we're able to do that, I think, because we have the support of the partnership.
They keep the community, the mayor, and all the teachers involved in a great solution for our kids.
They bring us laptops for us to do research, and they grant us many great field trips.
My classes are they're really fun to be in. I rarely miss any classes.
Well, after graduation, I will be attending UC Santa Barbara. And I'm really proud of that because I'll be the first person in my family to go to college.
These kids can learn, and they can succeed, and they can reach for the stars, and they can follow their dreams if we invest in them. We don't give up on them, and if we set the highest standards, the highest expectations for them.